Determining whether Jesus was a Jew, Christian, or Muslim can be better understood by examining what he did during his life. His actions, teachings, and practices provide a clear lens into his identity during his earthly ministry. Let's start this year looking at what he celebrated and became part of. January 2025 is just beginning, and what are the festivals at this time? We can connect Yeshua, Jesus, to. Let's begin. We often think of Hanukkah as an Old Testament Jewish holiday, but the events that inspired the festival did not happen until after the last book of the Old Testament was written. As the 8th day of Hanukkah began at nightfall on the 3rd of January, 2025 this year, using the biblical lunar solar calendar, or the 2nd of January on the Hebrew calendar. Can we find Hanukkah in the Bible's New Testament and how Yeshua, Jesus, fits into this celebration? Stay tuned to find out where we can find the answer. But first, let us understand what Hanukkah is. The history of Hanukkah. The Feast of Hanukkah commemorates the rededication of the Second Temple in the 2nd century BC. After the death of his father Antiochus III, a man called Antiochus IV Epiphanes, king of Syria, gained control of Israel. He outlawed the practice of the Jewish religion, forced the people to worship Greek gods, and desecrated the temple by offering a pig sacrifice to Zeus on the altar. A small band of Jewish rebels, led by Mattathias and his son Judas Maccabeus, fought back. They eventually succeeded and drove the Syrian army out of Israel. Their first act was to cleanse and rededicate the temple. According to the Talmud, the central text of Rabbinic Judaism, when the Jewish rebels came to light the menorah of the temple, the 7-branched candelabrum described in Exodus 25:31-40, there was only one small jar of holy oil left to light it. Although there was only enough oil left for one day, the little jar's supply miraculously burned for 8 days until more holy oil could be made. In celebration of this miraculous event, the Jewish people proclaimed an annual 8-day festival, beginning on the 25th day of Kislev on the Jewish calendar. Other names for Hanukkah is the Hebrew word for dedication, and therefore Hanukkah is also called the Feast of Dedication. It celebrates the rededication of the temple by the Maccabees, but also the rededication of hearts to love and worship to God. Another name for Hanukkah is the Festival of Lights, in celebration of the holy oil that burned for 8 days. Hanukkah in the Bible. Because the Maccabean revolt occurred after the writing of Malachi during the intertestamental period, Hanukkah does not appear anywhere in the Old Testament. It was still celebrated at the time of Yeshua, Jesus Christ, in Israel, however, while under Roman occupation. In John 10:22 it says, "And it was at Jerusalem the feast of the dedication, and it was winter," stating Jesus came to Jerusalem for the observance of Hanukkah, celebrating the festival in the same temple that was cleansed by the Maccabees in the 2nd century before Christ. 2 chapters before, in John 8:12, Jesus says that, "I am the light of the world. He that follows me shall not walk in darkness, but shall have the light of life." Just as the little jar of holy oil lit the temple for the Jewish people in the 2nd century, Jesus is the light that shines against all odds in the darkness of this world. If we keep our eyes on him, we will not walk in darkness, but in his life-giving light. Celebrating Hanukkah today. In the celebration of Hanukkah, for each of the 8 days, a new candle on the 9-branched menorah is lit. The 9th candle is used to light the others. Typically, during the lighting of each day's candle, blessings are recited and the menorah is placed in a window for all passers-by to see. As another remembrance of the jar of holy oil, the traditional Hanukkah foods are fried in oil. Latkes, potato pancakes, and sufganiot, jam donuts, are served. It is also customary to exchange gifts and spin special tops called dreidels. Remembering Hanukkah. As we enter the 8th day of Hanukkah celebrations, whether you personally celebrate or not, pause to remember the history of the holiday and its significance not just to the Jewish people, but also Christians, and what Jesus taught us as he celebrated. This is an important time to rededicate yourself to God and walking in the light of Yeshua, Jesus Christ. Just like the miraculous jar of holy oil, we too are called to be shining lights in a dark world. Make 2025 the year you shine.